What's up, everybody? I'm laughing. Hey, everybody, my name is Darrin, and welcome to Stock Mafia live stream. Mr. Simon, what is up, my brother? Bankroll. I'm cracking up because I didn't hit go live yet, and you're like, "We haven't moved yet. I want my fucking money." I think we all want our money, man. Oh shoot, that was so funny. It's like I was getting ready to. Most of the time when I click on, like nobody's there yet. And then then people roll in, within the 5 minute. But Bankroll, you crack me up, man. That's too funny. Yeah, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Yeah, I mean, what I want to talk about today, I mean, the biggest thing I'm looking at, I don't know how you guys feel about this, is this whole Disney merger talk. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel. And I mean, if you got feelings about it, put it in the chat how you feel about this whole Disney merger. I will tell you this because I'm not going to be like Mr. Negativity. Not that I'm not negative about it, but that's such a big ask, honestly. Such a big ask. Joey Booms, you get out of Robin Hood yet? Booms, we can't get out of, I can't press the MOAS button until you get out of Robin Hood. I got a weird memory, man. It's gonna be funny, Booms. I'm gonna remember certain people for certain things, like Bankroll. When he cracked me up, man. When I don't even press the live stream yet, and he's telling me he wants his effing money. That's the best. That was the best. Oh, you guys made my day. I'm with my people. We're with our people now. We got 8 people in the chat, and then more people are rolling in. But I've said before, as much as doing these live streams are fun to talk about certain topics, it's also good to be with the people that are in our misery, but not our misery. Because one thing, I try to take a step back, and I'm sure you guys do the same things. And when I say guys, I got to be honest with you. I know most of the people in here are men between the ages of 25 and 55. So it has turned into a men's club in some respects. And if the ladies are in here, cool. You're more than welcome to hang. I appreciate it. I don't know what it is about the stock market and men, what attracts us to that. But I think the pressure of everyday life and the pressure of men being looked at in society as earners, even though women earn almost as much as men, sometimes more. It's not a competition, but society still views men as earners, so we have that pressure on us. Manny's saying, "What's up, guys? Yeah, about the Disney thing. I haven't really seen anything about it yet. What? You've been paying attention?" But it's probably fake. Yeah, I mean, if you're on Twitter, and I don't like to. I mean, I've given Al from Boston enough grief, so I'm not going to be ripping on everybody that's out there. But I do believe that sometimes when these space calls get orchestrated, and depending on who's running them and what their business acumen is, meaning like what they know about businesses or business and have any background in that, even if they're educated in it, you don't have to be educated per se, but just kind of understanding the way mergers are very hard to pull off. And just because Adam Aaron does pictures with the CEO of Disney, which he tweeted that, I don't know, 8 or 9 months ago, maybe a year ago, it all just my life just keeps running together in this play. Just because he makes these little comments and does partnerships with them with the AMC credit card thing. Disney plays movies at movie theaters, so he's got to have that partnership anyway. So that's my whole take on that. I personally don't see the Disney thing happening because, like I said, that's a pretty big deal. And most of the time when there's stuff like going on right now, and let's just say you're not going to buy a company if it's in any type of legal battle. And I'm hoping, and I think we're all hoping, that AMC is in a legal battle with the SEC, trying to figure out, trying to get the shorts out of their company, trying to prove that there are synthetics, trying to make them deliver on their failure to deliver, the FTDs, whether it's on AMC or APE. So nobody's really going to buy into a company until all that legal stuff is clarified. I could be wrong. I would love to be wrong. I will I will do backflips, and I can't do a backflip. I'm a big dude. I probably would break my neck, but I can do it on a trampoline. I will do backflips if we merge with Disney. That's amazing. Do I think it makes sense? Yeah, if Disney could roll in here, merge with AMC, clean out the shorts, raise all that money through Ape, then Disney would be the most powerful entertainment company in the world. Entertainment company, not even movie company, entertainment company. And it would be fun. I mean, you think about all the opportunities to just go to a movie theater and have almost like a Disney experience when you go to a movie theater. That'd be pretty oh, excuse me. That'd be pretty neat. I'm trying not to curse, man, because I don't know much about Google algorithms and all that stuff, but when you try to build a channel and you try to come up well in search engines and stuff, and Don, I'm gonna answer your question in a second, and Bankroll, I'm gonna roll into you too. That's the cool thing about coming into this chat, especially on these hours. I can get to your questions. So Bankroll, I'm down for any potential catalysts. Yeah. So Bankroll, I'm assuming you're in GME also. I'm in GME also as well. So somebody was pressing me last live stream about my position. I'm gonna tell you this: that I own over 1,000 shares of AMC. I own over 1,000 shares of GME. I own more than that, but that's what I'll tell you that I'm in. I own way more than that, to be honest with you. Depressing. You guys open your brokerage account lately? Yeah, don't do that too often because that hurts. That's like somebody punching you in the stomach. Don, maybe stupid question. No stupid questions here. Former teachers, that's what I always say. There are no stupid questions. Stupid question. Everybody talks about fake shares, synthetics. What keeps brokers from just paying each other in cash to close the shares since they don't exist? Yeah, I mean, they can do whatever they want. And but there is a certain time when these shares do have to come to market. To be honest with you, I often wonder, and it's kind of funny, but let's say this stock ran to $20 or $30. Like what AMC was at, like 28 before like Ape was introduced. I think that was probably the high. I often think in the back of my mind, what if everybody just sold at 28? Could they even afford to pay that out? I mean, because we're all just holding. So I think if we all sold right now, they might be screwed. It's a valid argument if we all sold right now. But the thing is, we wouldn't win. We would get what? We would hurt hedge funds and banks. Well, they would raise interest rates and raise taxes and dive into people's pension funds and 401ks and increase the contributions that companies need to make, but give them a lower percentage on their interest. I mean, they would do all sorts of stuff. And in 5 years, they'd make that all back. And we'd be sitting there saying, hey, I sold AMC at $6. But I do think that would hurt them. If we all sold today, I think it would hurt them because of all the shares that are out there. And yes, I am drinking soda at 10 a.m. Strange. I need caffeine, man. Caffeine and sugar gets me going. Makes me happy. Manny, you think Manny, like I said, I'm just putting it out there. I don't, yeah, you're probably right. It's only at $7, but what if they did what if there is 5 billion synthetics? $7, what's that, 35 billion? I guess they could afford that. I don't know. They just printed it. They just printed anyway. Now, go back to when it was $28. Or let's say it hits 30. Now we're talking. Now we're talking some mad coin. Don, I'm with you. It is sad. It's sad what's going on in this country, but I guess I was I kind of had like And yo, Street Cred, what's happening, brother? Just bought 40 more ape. Yeah, that's the way to go. I mean, if I'm looking at anything right now and purchasing bananas, that's the way I would go. Not financial, not grocery advice, right? Ridiculous. It's funny how they can break the law all day long, but then I got to sit here and go, not financial advice. But you'll see in my streams. I mean, I don't do a lot of TA. I will eventually when we get post squeeze. If we're all still here and you guys choose to hang out with me, and I choose to stay, if you guys are with me, I'm here. That's kind of how that'll all work. But post squeeze, yeah, I'll be doing technical analysis and all that fun stuff. I use TA just to buy a position, but I would never ever do videos just doing TA. There's enough guys out there doing it. It's boring as hell, in my opinion. I'd rather have some lunatic like me ranting and raving and screaming at the microphone about the bullshit that's going on in this world and how it affects our pocket. So I mean, that's where I am. So we're going back to the Disney thing. If the merger happened, that's great. But I will say that the same people that are really pushing this Disney merger were the same people on Twitter that were doing the space calls that wanted Adam Aaron to resign. And we might all have our opinions of Adam Aaron. And so I was a sales rep. I mean, I've been to everything, but my main two things that I've ever done is I've been a school teacher and a sales rep. And I think I know how to read people. So I did go to Adam Aaron's movie screening on Friday because it was like relatively close to my house, about a 40-minute drive. And just wanted to see how he interacted with the people and all that stuff. I didn't stay for the whole time. I didn't get my picture taken with him. My only signature to that thing is if you watch the video, there was this crazy guy in the audience who yelled, "Kill the shorts." Yeah, that was me. Which Adam Aaron proceeded to say, "Well, that's how you guys feel, but legally I can't talk about that." And it's like, oh yeah, thanks. Like, honestly, after I heard that, I was like, all right, I'm leaving. But he seems like a genuinely good person. He puts himself out there. Like, one thing is he could hide behind all this. Let's be honest. What's Ryan Cohen doing? He hides behind Twitter. He sends ice cream cones and frog emojis, but he never really does anything really to just get people excited. I think we all, and me included, are just on the simple fact that this guy started a pet food company and genuinely cares about the customers when Ryan Cohen started Chewy.com. I don't know if you guys know that or not. If this guy likes dogs and pets and parrots and fish, he can't be that bad of a person. And his customer service is impeccable with Chewy. I mean, I know people that I don't have a pet right now, but I grew up with dogs. My parents have a dog, all that stuff. But I just genuinely think that he's a good person. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. And he's obviously a good business person. And if he runs GameStop the way he runs Chewy, GameStop is in good hands. But I have to be honest with you. What the hell is taking so long? I mean, that's my thing. It's like, what is taking so long? People say patience, and I say, wait a second here. 2 years is a long time to ask shareholders to be patient. So if you saw my latest video, what did he start? Bankroll just put in Ryan Cohen's a legend, started his first business at 14. Hey, man, I started my first business at 12. I was mowing lawns at the public pool. I'm no legend. But Bankroll, you're with me, man. It's taken way too long. I mean, the patience stuff, if it was 6 months we were into this, I can understand somebody saying patience. But when people say have patience, we're gonna get there. Hold, hodl. It's like, well, first of all, we're not going anywhere. Because take a step back, and this is what I was gonna try to tell you guys today. Take a step back and look at your life. If we weren't in this play, what would be different? Maybe me, I might not be. Well, actually, this whole thing has screwed me up from day trading because the market for me and the way I evaluate things is flat. Stocks go up for no reason. They come down for no reason. They go up on large volume. They go down on large volume. So for me, and I don't know if anybody else trades, or at least probably like me, like when I was teaching, I had enough time maybe during the day or during my lunch break to follow certain stocks and to make trades when I needed to. But I don't know how you guys feel. Like, is there any other day traders that are in here that, I mean, we're all kind of day traders. Let's be honest. You don't have to buy on margin and wake up in the morning and buy stocks and at 359 sell everything to be considered a day trader. I don't know what else you would call somebody like me. I classify myself as a swing trader. For some of the people that are new in here, is I swing trade, and what I do is I buy a company. Oh, okay, Manny, you do. All right. So my philosophy is, and Manny, you can talk to me about this too. My philosophy is I don't buy a company unless I want to own it forever. And I will sell it tomorrow. So if it's Neo, if it's Tesla, these are some of the companies that I've owned and sold. If it's Neo, if it's Tesla, if it's Twitter, I mean, I'm looking at my feed right now. If it's Apple, let's just say I bought Apple today at 150. So what did I just say? My biggest thing is that's something I want to own forever. Well, Apple jumps up to 160 or goes up 155 and say I have 1,000 shares of it or 500 shares. Well, goes up $5. I made $2,500. Boom, I'm out. On no news, just maybe some volume. Somebody bought, sold, whatever. Dark pool, buy orders released to the market. Yeah, make that money. And then honestly, if I'm so gung-ho about Apple because I feel like something's coming down the pike, whether they're bringing some new innovation or they're releasing a new iPhone, then I'll buy it back and it goes down, say it goes to 151 and sits there for another week. So, yeah, Mandy, so you and I are kind of on the same page. That's cool. Yeah, Manny, hit me up on Twitter, man. You and I can talk. We can discuss our stuff. So just hit me up on Twitter. Just DM me. Yeah, if you guys, I mean, most of you guys that have been in here, like Street Cred, and Manny's been in here a couple times. Mr. Simon's been in here. This is the boys club, man. This is the boys club. And my stream will hit and people can watch it when they're coming on, but this is the boys club. So you guys want to hit me up on Twitter all the time, man. I got my phone in my hand all the time. I think that will lead to my second divorce, is me and my phone. Me and my phone sitting in a tree, because I have a product that I sell on Amazon, my own invention, something I'm very proud of, and a business that I want to build, and I'm sure you guys all have your aspirations of what we're going to do with our money after we get out of this market. But that's something I want to do. Is really just because I don't know. Let's just say we all made $2 million walking out of this trade. That money, until they fix this market, until they really get rid of payment for order flow, which hopefully something is coming down the pike with that. It's one of those catalysts that I mentioned in my video that I posted last night. Let's say they fix all this stuff, but it's going to take a while, and they have to prove it to us. It's like It's like your girlfriend cheats on you and she says she's never going to do it again. You're like, well, yeah, but I'm going to wait a couple months, see if you pull that nonsense again before we break up. Or, you guys know you feel what I'm putting down. It's one of those things where I'm just like, man, because these days where it's all green and then it's all red, it's just ridiculous. It's like, what, how are AMC, Apple, Carnival, Carvana, Neo? I mean, Carvana, American company, e-commerce, they have their own issues. Stock had a 52-week high of $309. Now it's trading at $15.40. Really? Really? Like, if that doesn't scream manipulation. Now, have I dug into it? I know that I've heard that they had some funny business going on with manipulating prices and whatever. Dude, it's funny? I bought my car from them. It was the best experience I ever had in my life in terms of buying a car. Carvana. It was freaking awesome. They gave me more money for my trade than the dealer was giving me. I didn't have to sit in the dealership for 4 days and have them say, let me go talk to my manager. It was a pretty awesome experience. I mean, whatever they got going on, and maybe it's accounting, some issue. Dude, stock was trading at $309. Yeah, Manny, I'm looking at you too. You said, I understand what you're saying. Manny said, have you read the proposal for the payment for order flow change that SEC put out? So I really didn't. I didn't dig into it because I don't know how you feel about this stuff, because when these announcements were made like 12 months ago, I was like, oh man, this is it. This is the change. We did it. We got them now, those MFers. And, I dig all into it, understand the law, and nothing happens. So now when I hear this stuff, I don't even know what the hell Gary Gensler's talking about when he talks about how this is going to go from payment from order flow, payment for order flow, and then he's going to do some sort of auction style. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Auction. That sounds worse. So what? So Virtue, so Griffin and Doug Sifu from Virtue can bid to take our orders and hold them into the dark pool. Still sounds shady. Market makers aren't needed. Google market. Dude, this is what we're doing. Class isn't now officially in session. Market makers are not needed. History. A market maker. Let me see. Market maker, liquidity provider. Kiss my ass. U.S. markets. I probably shouldn't even be looking at Wikipedia. I should probably be looking at like some kid's like book report. I'd get more truth from little Johnny's 6th grade book report on the stock market than I would probably from Wikipedia, because these hedgies jump in here and change this shit all the time. Oh my God. See, this is the nonsense. I just want what I've understood about a market maker, and I could be wrong, but I heard it and I liked it, so I remembered it. The basis of it is back in the day in Wall Street, when they didn't have technology, they had kids running in between buildings with slips, and you'd call it in, you'd say, I want to sell. I'm sure General Electric was a big company back in the day. I want to sell 1,000 shares of General Electric. They write on a piece of paper, give it to the kid. He runs down the street or jumps on his bike a mile down the road, goes to the market maker. Market maker processes the order, sends it back. They call the guy back and they say, okay, you got 1,000 shares of General Electric. You don't need that anymore. You don't need that anymore. Mr. Simon, what are you talking about? We are live. Why? What did I did I do something? Right now, so Manny's saying right now we bull Charles Schwab or whoever sells our orders to the market makers. Or so in general, instead, they will have to auction to all. Oh, okay. But that's even shady. Like, Manny, do you agree with me? Like, that's even shady. I don't know if anybody else like. I mean, I guess you create competition, but there's no competition. I mean, there's no competition. It's like all of us in here. It's like if we could somehow manipulate the market, we just all like come in here and then one day 10 more guys roll in there and be like, hey, it's like Congress. Yeah, you get elected to Congress, you're like, there's going to be no trading in Congress, no insider information. And you get into that club and they're like, yo, dog, you want to survive here? You better take that tip to buy those options on Microsoft from the Madam Pelosi, or she's going to chop your fingers off and you're not going to get any bills passed for your state or county or anything like that. So that's the biggest problem. See, Booms, the funny thing is that's the crazy part. I'm locked up, man. I got to be straight with you guys. I am locked up. I had money to trade and I was trading, and Ape really got me. I thought him putting down Ape we were going to make moves. I didn't think that they would do what they did. Big surprise. But Ape really screwed me in the short run. In the long run, I think it's a good thing. But making trades and stuff, I mean, I was making trades, but then once I took the rest of what I had that I was using for other plays, and I went into AMC with the thought that I would get Ape. Ape would run to $30, $35, and I would get out. And I wouldn't get out until I hear that Adam Aaron is selling. But that's what I was looking at. Because I'll be straight with you guys. I mean, Adam Aaron is quick on that trigger finger to sell shares. So if I know people talk about and you see that they're like, no, Ape's going to squeeze. There's no option chain. No, but there is an Adam Aaron chain. And Adam Aaron is not going to, I just don't see him holding. Oh, you just saw it, Mr. Simon? Oh, good. I guess did somebody else post it? That would be nice. Yeah, whatever you guys can do to share my stuff, I'd appreciate it. And I'd say this, and it's not really, it's related to me selfishly, but so I can sit there and be selfish, but it does actually helps out with everything. So if you think my message is something that people need to hear, then give it to them, because that's the power we have. That's the power we have in this movement. That's the power we have in social media. We wouldn't be making the money in this market, at least on my end. I don't know how Manny feels and how Booms feels, or any of you feel about this, but we wouldn't making any of this money in this market if it weren't for social media. I mean, the information that I was getting over the past 4 or 5 years on social media, and it can still be like, listen, the hedge funds put out nonsense all the time, but if you can weed your way through it and connect with certain people and follow certain people, you can kind of follow what they're up to. It's even like following a guy like Jim Cramer. You know what his objective is. So if he tells you to buy something, you're like, nah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, his credibility is done. It's cooked. I wish he was like 25 years old. I would love to end his career. But unfortunately, if things go south for him, for his career, which they will, he's just going to retire. You know what I mean? He's never going to admit that. He's just going to go away, and they're going to bring some other schlub in there. They'll probably bring some sellout YouTuber on there. Meet Kevin will probably be the next Jim Cramer. I God help me. It's not going to be Matt Kors. I can't, man. I can't do it. There's certain people you want to hang with, and I think that's what it is. It's like there's certain people you can hang out with, and that's so. I was like, one thing that brought me on YouTube is like I watch everybody. I'm just like you guys. I watch everybody. I watched Lou. I don't watch Lou anymore because I just have I got tired. I rode his wave. I thought he was cool. Not that I thought he was cool. I thought he was getting insider information. And now he's been saying the same thing over and over again. And I just kind of caught on to his con. Whether he got bought out, or he doesn't have to necessarily get bought out as much as he might have been shorting the companies that he, like AMC or Ape or whatever. And that's how he tried. Then he started bashing it. So didn't necessarily have to get bought out. But then, and honestly, I got on here for whatever reason. It just kind of worked out that way. I made my first video, and then like literally like 2 weeks later, Trey was like, "Peace." And I watched Trey a lot. I think I was one of I know I was one of his first 1,000 subs. So if you guys subbed, you could maybe say the same thing about me one day. That would be fun. But yeah, I mean, I watched all those guys, but I used to always watch it and go, man, there's like nobody on here that's like me. Like there's nobody on here that just like talks like a little straight. I feel like a lot of YouTubers are almost like interviewing for their next gig, or interviewing to be put on CNBC for an interview, or interviewing so you're not offensive, so Charles Payne asks you to come back on the show. And like I said, I'm in my 40s, and that's the kind of person I want to talk to. I want to talk to somebody who's going through my lifestyle, who has kids, who has a mortgage. Most of these guys, I mean, let's be honest, they're kids. They're kids. Most of the kids are talking about the stock market. And nothing against him. I think the Masked Investor is a good dude. Like, he seems like a good dude, but he's a kid. So I'd rather listen to somebody who has a little bit more life experience when it comes to following the market and stuff. Street cred, appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, you share my videos and stuff, but guys, come in the chat. Let's talk. Whatever you want to say. You got something to say? You want to complain? You want to say this sucks? Just look at STV. He wears tie and suit now. Who's STV? Big Stott, I am so glad you asked that. Moas is, what do they say? It's tomorrow? I don't know. That's what we're going to talk about. Like, let's talk about our last video. And it's not like, oh, let's talk about our last video. Let's like, there's those 4 things. We got earnings coming up on the 8th. Oh, short the VIX. Come on, Simon. I'm not that cool. You can't be doing all these little I can't even say it. Acronyms. I'll get confused. We got earnings coming up on the 8th. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. We got midterm elections, which I believe is the biggest thing coming down the pike is those midterm elections, because that's why the whispers, all these, like, I think the Fed has sent all the money they can to all these banks. Because remember, like last week or 2 weeks ago, everything was falling. Everything. Credit Suisse, South Korea was having issues with their banks. Japan's still having issues with their banks. But that's like a trickle-down thing. You're hearing all this stuff. Credit Suisse selling assets. Ken Griffin selling houses in Miami. This hedgie that's up in my area, in the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area, selling his shit. And then, boom, it's crickets. And I feel like they just sent all the money they can, and they're like, listen, guys, shut the bleep up until after, don't tell us your problems till after midterms. Some of these, I tell you what, though, Mr. Simon, it's kind of funny because I know you and I both talk about like the YouTube guys that we watch. And like I said, hit me up if you guys want to hit me up on DM on Twitter. It's a lot easier for me to talk to you than, please leave comments, because that obviously helps out the video and all that nonsense. I think it does, but let's be honest. If somebody watched my video 10,000 times, you really think YouTube gives a crap that you left 12 comments? I doubt it. It's all about like subscribers and viewing and all that stuff, viewing hours or minutes. So yeah, so Big Stott, like I'm with you. So midterms. Now I got people throwing in questions now, so I'm gonna go. AMC Disney earnings same day. All right, so let's talk realistic. If we got midterm, so we have earnings same day. That's the first thing that's gonna drop. And yes, Disney has earnings on the same day. I don't not foresee like an announcement. Like they've been doing things together. AMC and Disney have been doing things together. I think a merger is like the biggest thing you could say. You know what I mean? Like I think right now AMC and Disney are just dating. They're not getting married. And they're dating, they're getting credit card together with like go to AMC theater, get Disney rewards at the Disney store or discounts on park passes, stuff like that. So right now I just think they're dating. So I think they could just make another announcement about what they're dating. And that could be certain. I mean, I believe, and you guys probably agree with me too. These people that have been running these movie theaters, it's like it's been on cruise control. What a waste of space for why some of the biggest draws. Well, I know this for a fact. The biggest draws in the movies are kid movies and horror flicks. Why isn't AMC doing like on a Halloween weekend? And I don't mean like Halloween Mike Myers. Why aren't they doing like a weekend where at like every movie that they're playing on a Friday night, the weekend before Halloween, why aren't they playing all the horror flicks like Christine and Cujo and Freddy Krueger and Jason, Friday the 13th? Kids would. I know. As a teenager, I would go to that with all my friends. I would go to it now. I know my wife loves horror flicks, so I would do that now. So imagine taking your family, especially if you have teenagers. We're like, all right, come on, we're going to go see a double feature of the original Halloween, and then kind of like what they're doing with Black Panther now, but do it like on a theme side. And the same thing with Disney movies. Those partnerships are huge. Man, did you say I put limited words? Oh, or well, Manny, if we're talking on the comments things, dude, I got like, it's cool and awesome. And I mean, but it's hard because I sometimes get in there and there's like 90 people talking to me about something and it's hard for me. So I gotta give like the thumbs up so yeah, like I said, man, just hit me up on Twitter. You'll probably be able to have a better conversation or come in on here. This is the best place to talk to me. Best place to talk to me. Sorry guys if I'm missing your stuff. Okay, thought. The shorts did initially, but then they was on. Yeah, bankroll was the same way. So when I got into I really did. I poured into AMC when it was at like I think it was at like a $27-$28 high, and then it went down to like 21. I was like, okay, right before Ape was gonna like hit, because they were saying that we had to buy it before that Friday, before it hit on Monday. And I went in. I was like, this is it. This is it. They can't get out of this. And they didn't. And they halted it 13 times when they opened it. And it hit a high at 1050. And I was like, let's go, baby. Let's go. Adam Aaron's going to sell. He's going to drop those 400 million shares at 20, 30, 35, 40 bucks. We're going to pay off all our debt. And then AMC is going to run. And that's exactly what will happen. That's what should happen. And they knew that was going to happen. So now, and maybe they will let that happen. I mean, as much as we can all say that we have no control over this, we clearly do, because look at all the moves that are being made before midterm elections. They're so afraid. The Democratic Party, and this is not political, because I got to be honest with you guys. Do I want to get the Democrats out of office? Yeah, I do. And then when the Republicans come in and they start screwing up, I want to get them out of office too. And I want to keep turning it over until we kind of find some sort of happy medium, which I don't know if we ever will. say what you want about the orange man, but he went in there and broke the dishes. He really upset the apple cart. I don't. Do I think he's a great person? No, honestly, I don't. But I don't think anybody in those. I think sometimes if you want to fight a bunch of assholes, you better send an asshole in there, and that's kind of how I felt about that whole thing. And I just want change, but I want it for the better. I want it for people like us, the 99%, not the 1%. And I even say 99.5 because just because you're you're the 1% doesn't make you a bad person. There's a lot of good people that have a lot of money, but let me see. Someone go back to Kia Mike just rolls in here with just a Trey cock slapper response. But yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I just was saying, like I'm hoping for Ape to dilute, Adam to pay off the debt, and AMC to run. Yeah, that's the goal. That's what should happen. And I'm hoping honestly that we get an announcement because somehow. Well, let's look at it this way. I actually never really thought about this. You guys actually opened my mind to this. Why is he doing like a private selling of Ape on the open market? He is trying his best. Because remember, Adam is a Wall Street guy. And you can disagree with me or give me your comments on how if I'm on to something here. He is trying to give these Wall Street guys every opportunity to get out of his company alive. I just think he's trying to do that because he's literally telling these guys, I see what you're doing. I see what you did. I'm not selling you Ape at $2.50. I'm not doing it. I'm not selling it at $1.98 when you brought it down to that. I'm not doing it. What's the lowest he got it to? Was it like $1.89? Let's see here. I love this. Everything's green except for Ape. Damn, 148. Anybody buy at 148? I didn't. I don't have any money. I told you that already. But I think he's given all right, Mr. Simon, I will read it. Shit. Where is it? Short the VIX? Oh no. Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, so Mr. Simon, that's how Kia Mike came up with that. You asked STV would be short the VIX, TMI is the massive vector, and then Trey's trades would be Trey Cockslapper. Well, yeah, he likes that black dildo. I mean, that's his logo. So you're right on the money with that one. Whoa, hey guys, this is good. While we've been chatting, Streetcat just said it. It's true. I mean, AMC over 7 that's a good move. I mean, honestly, I always say like this penny stuff is boring, but hey, man, green is good. Let's get it. I like this. This is good. I wonder what that's all about. Probably some buying pressure that these guys can't control. It's amazing. This dark pool stuff is amazing. So let me go back to I'll finish my point with the Adam Aaron stuff. I think he got this whole broker with Citigroup kind of stuff because he's telling these guys, listen, I'm going to let you out of this because I do believe he's trying to be a friend to them. Why? I have no idea, because they would bury his ass and steal his house and kill his family if they could. That's personally, these guys are hedge fund, these hedge guys, these money guys, they are ruthless. They are ruthless. And if you ever watch the show Billions, look at the stuff that's going on. What, you don't think that stuff's true? Look at the douchebag that wrote that show, Andrew Sorkin. He got all sorts of insider information. That show is as true could be about how these hedgies run their lives and their businesses. They're thieves. They're crooks in suits. They are the mafia. So guess what? We're now a mafia. Boom. Joey booms. But no, I think Adam Aaron is trying to give them a way out, and he's going to say to them, "Okay, well, what do you want to buy ape for?" And they're going to say, "Well, I'm going to give you $3." He's like, "No, you're going to at minimum give me $20 per share of ape at minimum." Okay, who wants it? And then the one guy said, "I only got 400 million," and he's got all these whatever hedge fund 1, hedge fund 2, and that's some Gary Gensler auction style shit for me, baby. Line them all up and say, okay, let's get this started. I'm selling ape at 20. Anyway, I got 21. I got 21. I got 22. I got 22, 23. Ho, Griffin. I got Ken Griffin 25 for 100 million shares. Ho, I got Charles Schwab wants 30, 30, 30. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that needs to happen. Big Daddy. Big Daddy asking me what my thoughts are on T90. So let me clarify my thought, and then I'll get on that, because I do have an opinion on that, and you can agree with me and maybe teach me more about it. That's how I think Adam Aaron should do it. I think that's how he's trying to do it. And when you do this kind of this auction style and get people to bid and sell it off the exchange, you don't have to date the hedge funds, and the shorts can kind of like breathe. I don't know if they can really breathe a sense of relief, but Adam Aaron can say, you can stop doing all the stuff that you're doing to ape and driving it down. I'm going to let you out of your position, but you're going to have to pay for it. And you're going to pay a discount, because I could let this thing run to $1,000. I'm not going to do that to you, but here it is. And then Adam Aaron comes out with tremendous amount of money, pays off debt, does what he needs to do. Then we can see a merger with Disney. That makes more sense to me. So Big Daddy's talking about T90. So the thing that I do know about T90, obviously the date is November 23rd, which is the day before Thanksgiving. That is when this whole T90 thing pops up. It's when these failure to delivers are supposedly going to be put in the open market, bought back, whatever the hell they got to do for that. So the only thing that I hold high hopes for on the T90 is Tesla. When Tesla had their big rip a few years ago, and that stock ripped to 2,000, it was based off of the FTDs being delivered 90 days after they released their dividend. And that's really all I've read that sticks in my mind. Now, Overstock did it, and that same thing, but they had like a different thing going on. That whole crypto thing, it has more relevancy. I wish Adam Aaron would have done it, but like I said, he's a Wall Street guy. Like him doing this side thing with Ape, like with Citigroup, and having these guys, he's just given them so many opportunities to get out of this play. And that's what he's going to do when he goes to the SEC. Because the SEC would love to just, because they're in on it. They're being paid off. They're in on this. The SEC would love to hammer at him and say, "Oh, it's market manipulation. You just can't go after shorts." And this is his way of saying, I gave them every opportunity. I even allowed them to close their positions off market so they didn't have to deal with the FOMO. Because let me tell you something, man. You think we're strong? We all, I mean, I don't know if anybody ever collected coins when they were a kid. And some kids in their house, they had like that big super Coke bottle. It was like clear and you filled it with pennies. We'd be emptying your piggy banks and rolling up your pennies and taking them to the bank, because that FOMO is going to be fierce. And shoot, man, if I had $100 in my wallet, I'd buy buying shares for the FOMO run. So they are scared to death of that FOMO run. And they saw a little bit of it back in March when AMC ran up to 34. That was some FOMO stuff, baby. Don't mess with the apes. Don't mess with the apes. And I know a lot of people are like, I hate being called an ape. I hate being called a meme stock investor. I hate being called a retail investor, but the more and more I get to know everybody and talk to people, and the more and more we all get to know each other, we got to be something. We might as well be apes. We might as well. And yes, like I said before, I'm drinking soda at like 10 in the morning. Yeah, they are. They are POSs, street cred. They don't let anything. Yeah, that March run was awesome. Saved my butt. I'll be honest with you. I had a lot of taxes to pay. It saved my butt. It really did. So some of the things we can be grateful for, and that run around that time really saved my behind, because I had a lot of taxes to pay. Because I said to you guys before, look, when this whole AMC thing first started, I was trading it. I wasn't holding it. I wasn't a quote unquote ape. I was trading it. And I made good money doing it. But like you guys, I saw the writing on the wall that I was like, wow, out of anything, because I don't really believe in like holding stuff. And you'll realize that as we learn to get to know each other and we get into different plays. Hedge funds don't hold. I believe that in this market, and now everybody has to start listening with more than their ears. Why do they tell you the things they tell you? So the things that I've learned and why I've made a significant amount of money trading stocks is this whole capital gains tax thing is a big farce. And please comment after I finish. And understand this. So you make a lot of money on the short term, you're going to get booked for 35, 38% tax hit in the United States. You hold it past a year, you only pay 20%. Look at most stocks. Do the research. When you hold on to a stock for that long, so let's say you held on to, I'll use NEO because I traded NEO like crazy. Say you bought NEO at $10 and it ran to 60. 62 was I think it was the high. And it ran there within like a 3 to 4 month period. It went from like 10, $12 to 60. And you were like, well, I really want to sell at 60, but I don't want to pay that 38%. Well, if you wait long enough, now you're sitting at a year from now, when it was at 10, now it's at 20. So you could have either taken that tax hit and made a shit ton of money, or you can pay your 20% tax hit and you really just, you got good gains, but not as much as you would have made if you would have sold in the short term. So you got to remember what they're looking at. And I a lot of times with a swing trade, you get in, you get out. Bing, bang. Bing, bang. You get in, you get out. Because that's what hedge funds do. They get in, they get their money, they scalp. And the thing is, too, like, you don't have to say you bought 5,000 shares of Carnival. You could swing trade 3,000 of those shares and then hold on to 2,000 for long. You play it both ways. But this whole narrative about, I just believe that they dangle that carrot in front of you with that 20% tax rate. You would be surprised. And it's so funny, but I don't talk to that many people on a personal level about trading because it's people's money. But you'd be surprised how people are like, oh, I didn't want to sell. I didn't want to pay the taxes. And then meanwhile, their stock goes down like 3,000%. It's like, didn't want to pay the taxes, huh? You didn't want to pay the taxes. Now you don't have any money because you didn't want to pay the taxes. You got to pay taxes. And if it runs 200-300%, pay the 38% in taxes. Yeah, Manny, I'm with you. So you and I are both like I trade. I'm a trader. So I mean, I gotta it. But the thing is too, like, you could still hold and still like take some off the top. Just saying. People are like, oh, Hold. I think holding does hurt the hedgies, but they have buried themselves so much that personally, if I mean, do I have influence? I guess I do. But it's how I truly feel about this whole thing is the only thing that's going to stop this thing from getting $500,000 is the government. We all know that it can go to 500K, it can go to $1 million a share. But the Fed, the market, they're not going to let that happen. They just will not let it happen. So, and why do I say it can get there? Because there are so many synthetic shares that even if 90% of the people sold at when it gets to 1,000 or it gets to 1,200, which most people, you say you're selling at 1,200, people are like, that's not the squeeze, you paper-handed bitch. Like, okay, but I think if people sold at that, I still think it would run. I think there's that many synthetics. Just remember, for this thing to get like true price action, where for it to really like go down, I mean, I guess you sell enough of those synthetics, they can short it, but they're using. Understand when people say that. So why would they keep shorting it? Because the reason it ran is because people are covering their shorts. See what I'm saying? So people are like, well, if you sell, they're going to take those shares and use them to drive it back down. So they're going to short on top of a short that's running. I guess. Well, you're shorting at $1,000 a share. I mean, they could do that. But personally, I mean, I just think there's so many shares that if they just let it naturally run, it would go to $1 million. It really would. But I just don't think the government's going to let that happen. We see what they do. Change your perspective on the United States, right? That we're a democracy. I think the people need to start taking back this country. That's how I feel about that. So Manny, I'm with you. Like, whose idea was it to hold? I think in the beginning it made sense to hold, and it still kind of makes sense now, of course, because we're all buried. Most of us, even when we bought in, it wasn't this low. I think my buy-in number, honestly, with all the shares I have, and I never bought a share for more than $30. So what I'm thinking is I think my base is probably like $12. So I'm buried, just like most of you are. Because a lot of us, even if we were buying AMC at 5 when it was back in February when it was $5, it's not like I was buying at 5, 6, 9, 13. Then went back to 9 again. I was buying at 9. I was buying at 801 when we were making that push. Remember that? Remember 801? If we get it to 801, this thing's gonna rip. Yeah, 11. That makes sense. I honestly, big stot, I could be at 11. I don't know. Personally, I don't. I guess because my price target is obviously way higher, and I go into my brokerage account with like closed eyes because I'm down so much. But yeah, that's about everybody's average. I bet you everybody's average is below 15. If you truly have been in this play since January, February of 2021, you are probably at the 15 mark, because you're probably buying at 9 and you probably got excited when you got a little bit of money behind you and you bought at $35 a share. Because remember, it was trading 30, 40 for like a couple months, between 30 and 40. But they've done everything they can to bring it down. So, damn, look at AMC 690. Like, come on, man. Are you freaking kidding me? Let me see this candle action. What the heck? There we go. So it hit a high of 711. And then look at that candle, how they brought it back down. Huh. Whatever. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, Max Payne is $6 for Friday. So I know what you're saying. Yeah, in terms of them bringing it down, their motivation to bring it down below 6. It's just a bunch of shit, man. I mean, you get this question all the time, and if you don't understand it, I mean, it'll be real easy once I explain it to you. They can control anything when they hold buy and sell orders because they hold everything in the dark pool, so they never let anything hit the lit exchange, and they never actually buy the shares. So when they need buy pressure to drive a stock up, they just take those shares from that dark pool and they buy, they'll buy 1 million shares and they'll drive it up 20 cents. And maybe they're buying and selling, which wouldn't surprise me. Why wouldn't they? They're a bunch of crooks. So they let that stuff out into the open exchange. They drive the price up 20 cents. They sell some shares. They sell the shares that are out there. And maybe even the same shares that they just put out there to drive the price up, they sell them at 720. And then if they feel like there's more buying pressure that's driving things up that they can't control, well, they'll take the dark pool shares and they'll throw some more out there and they'll sell shares. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And that's why we see a green and red market all the time across the board, all industries, every day. Tesla, NIO, Carvana, Norwegian Cruise Lines, Apple, Amazon, Mullen, all these companies that have nothing to do with each other, but they all go down in price at the same time. Big stock looking to buy at 650. Biggie Smalls. I tell you what, dude. I'd wait. I'd wait. I don't know what you're doing. Like, I don't know what your strategy is, but like I said, Max Payne is $6 for Friday. So you do you, not financial advice. And nobody has a crystal ball, but it's just Friday's always a good day to buy stocks, guys. Sometimes Monday, but Friday's good too, especially if you see a lot of action. So I don't trade options because I don't like that risk. I don't trust it. I believe that is the most rigged game in the market. Yes, dark pool is rigged, but that's like criminal. But they use options. They use dark pool with options to even make it even more criminal. So if I'm breathing heavy, I apologize. I'm just I'm stuffed up. But look at this push, 695. All right, let's do it. The day it squeezes, man, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun to come on here. And I will tell you this, I make this promise all the time. When we squeeze or when we have action, I will be on this live stream 24/7. So you will turn on your computer and be like, "Yeah, Darren's still there. That dude ever sleep?" I don't smoke cigarettes, but I'll probably start then. I don't drink scotch, but I'll probably start drinking scotch then. I will be sitting there with a cigarette and scotch. And like I said, I don't do either of the two, so it would look kind of funny actually with me actually doing that. It's like a Halloween costume. You see me, I'm like drinking soda at 10 a.m. Like that's like my elixir. All right. Yeah, so I mean we're pushing up to 7. That's good. I mean, it's just what are we doing on Ape? Oh God. Yeah, I have a buddy, he's looking to buy Ape in the $2. What did he say? I always tell him I'm like, I don't know, I'm looking at 215. And he always like just buries me. He's like, yeah, me too. I'm looking at buying it like 202. I'm like, geez, I think that's a lot lower than I thought, but whatever. He'll probably get it. He'll probably get it. I do see Ape actually having a run next week. I don't know if you guys agree with me, a run up going into earnings. So I think this is a good week is it a good buying week? Not financial advice, but just in terms of the volatility and stuff. You might see I foresee like a dip this week, and then I see it running up next week into earnings. And then listen, if you follow any earnings on Wall Street, you know what happens after earnings. I don't have to tell you. But if you want me to tell you, they beat the crap out of stuff after earnings. So unless we got like some sort of Disney merger that they can't control, they're going to smash that sucker. So if you're looking to swing or do anything, I laid out the plan without telling you the plan. You do you, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but like I said, I see volatility this week. There's opportunities to buy always. And next week, I just see it running up. So Mr. Simon saying he was, I won't use that word. We don't say that in this classroom. We don't say that about ourselves. Holding through the first run up on January 20th, then held through the run up on, and then, so you never sold. I mean, there's nothing for those of you that held on. It's okay. Don't sweat it. I do, in my heart of hearts, I believe no matter any bad that happens, I do think we'll see, crazy enough, and even saying this is crazy because of the amount of money that we can all make even when it gets to this point, but I do see price targets of 100, 200, 300, 400. I think when it gets close to $1,000, that's when things are going to get sketchy. I think the government might, let's say this thing ran up to $1,500. I could totally see the government being like, oh, well, we're having, not liquidity crisis, because they only use their keywords for a couple months and then they make up new words that they try to intimidate us with, like capitulate. Fuck off with your capitulate. You mean sell shares? I mean, you would think about all the change of vocabulary that we could do with capitulate. We need retail to capitulate. First of all, I'm not retail. I'm a person, and I'm not selling my shares. So you can take your capitulate and shove it up your you-know-what. But saying like, Mr. Simon, I appreciate, I know what you're saying, man. I've been there. Don't feel alone in your loss, because I have those losses, my friend. All right. I'm not going to, if somebody read the chat, they can see what I'm talking about. I'm not going to verbally put his stuff out there. He put it out there. That's fine. But, yeah, like a lot of us are down hundreds of thousands of dollars of what our accounts look like previous. Yes, I agree with you. That's why I can't wait to see $100. I didn't say I was going to sell. I'm not selling. I just can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see us hit another all-time high. I like to see $73. I can't wait to see it. It's the only thing that I sold during that $72 run up is I had some shares in Webull, and in order to, I just wanted to get out of it because those guys are payment for order flow, owned by Virtue. They're the crux of the crux. So if Citadel's really hot, is into Robinhood, Virtue's in the Webull, those guys, I don't trust them. I don't trust any of them. They all can do shady stuff, so it doesn't really mean, but Robinhood has shown that they will turn things off before anyone else. They almost started the whole game. And once they started doing it, even Vanguard, who turned their stuff off for a little bit, then turned it back on, They were just like, oh, what do we do? We just turned it off. Okay. Until we figure out what the hell is going on today when they turn the buy button off. They turned it back on. But there were so many people into Robinhood at that time. I mean, what a screw up. I think in the long run, they could have made 100 times more money than what they have made or are making. But they're criminals. So they don't know how to run a business. They just know how to steal. So we can't give them any credit or I can't really make fun of them. Yeah. Well, Mr. Simon, it makes you feel any better. I am down more than that. But you're saying you're only in the stocks for a year. So if you're down 10K after a year of only being in the stocks, I mean, it's a good lesson. My best lesson I was ever taught was when I got kicked in the nuts in the stock market. It's funny how much you learn when you start losing money. It's funny how much you start learning. And I'm just checking my phone right now. People are like blowing me up here. All right. I don't even know. Men in tights. Booms. What does that mean? Yeah, I don't know what that means. Yeah, so you guys, like I said, put something in the chat. Let's talk about something else. I mean, I'll go over my other catalysts. So we already did earnings. So we already talked about Disney, how I feel about that. Like I said, I don't foresee it happening, but any type of partnership with Disney is a good thing because those are the movies that kids watch, and teenagers and children go to the movies. Parents take their kids to the movies, and teenagers. If you don't know this marketing fact, I will educate you on this. Teenagers have the most disposable income in the United States, probably in the world. And understand this. So the money they have, so say your kid has $500, your 13-year-old has $500. That $500 is for them to spend. It's not for them to pay a cell phone bill. They don't have a car payment. They don't have the bills that we have. So children have the biggest disposable income in the world. And so you gear toward things like that. And the movies have always been a big driver to get teenagers to go to the movies. And now they don't go to the movies as much as maybe I did or you did when we were kids. For whatever reason, I don't understand. I mean, we had VHS tapes and we could rent movies. So I don't understand. People are like, no, because streaming. I'm like, streaming's the same as renting. You see the movies you want to see. So I just think it's just things have changed. Maybe it's the phones, but if you make things fun, like you make a weekend event of scary movies, and maybe even have some sort of like Halloween contest for costumes. Best costume gets $100 gift certificate to AMC. Those are so many things that you could do on a business side. That AMC, that would be such a good revenue driven thing. It's unbelievable what they could pull off with the facilities that they have. Oh, I got you. Oh, men in tights. I got you, street cred. All right, I got you, booms. I got you. It's tough when you go through the chats. You type something up and you think like everybody knows what you're saying. Yeah, no, I'm not. And Chris, you're talking about 72 is way low. Yeah, dude, you guys do know this. I mean, let's be honest. And let's be honest. And I'm at the point now where like somebody called me a shill or something and be like, I'm just being honest. You could edit my videos and make me sound like I'm saying something else. But I was talking to my buddy today. Yeah, today. And I said, what if they ran this thing to $500? Like maybe that was like their like if we give them $500, we give these peons $500 a share. Will that shake them? And let's halt it. And we'll halt it for 90 days. And then people will start to go, no, they can't do that. They can only hold for 30 days. Dude, they do whatever the hell they want. So they could say it's a matter of national security, and they halt this thing for $500 for 90 days, or they halt it at $200 for 90 days. You're telling me that half the freaking people aren't going to sell because you're just going to be staring at it all day, and maybe that's their goal, to just beat us up enough. But I mean, I have my price target, and it's not 100K. But I just, as I tell people all the time, like, don't sell everything in one shot when you sell. DJ Childs, what's the word? You said, what up, peeps? And then you said, have a good day. So what were you saying? Hi, and then saying bye in the same. AJ. Yeah, AJ, I'm the same way. Like, I don't understand. And I've had this conversation with my friends, and now I'm having it with you, and you guys are my friends. And I'm not going to do that Lou bullshit where it's like your family and stuff. I ain't going to pull that crap. But dude, honestly, you saw me at a bar, like, we'd hang. Like, I'll talk about this stuff all day long, obviously. I mean, without you guys, this stream is nothing. And it's me talking to myself. And I think one time I tried streaming when I first started, and there was nobody on there for like 15 minutes. And I was like, I never felt so dejected in my life. Yeah, so AJ's saying the same thing. Like, why wouldn't they just run this thing? I can't imagine if they ran it to $150 that's like their killer number. I just can't imagine. I think it's more greed, AJ. It's more greed, because if I was running the show here and I was sitting, if I was an advisor to the hedgies, I would say, hey, boss, let's just run it to $150, $200 and see who sells. Because there is the opportunity, and this could really happen, that and this is what happened with Tesla. So this is not me putting ideas out there of me being some sort of shill. Tesla had its bump, and then when Tesla went to 2000, and I could look into this, but does it really matter? But I do know this is the truth. It went up to, say, the 2000 range, dropped back down a couple hundred. I think it went down in like the 1200 range, and then it pumped up again to 1600. I mean, is that the squeeze? Why couldn't they do that? Like, why that stuff can happen. The stock market is very volatile. It's not like they're not going to just open the door to this thing and just let it rip, because that's when we're going to see $1 million a share, and they're never going to let that happen. They're not going to let, like, Mr. Simon and I open up our own bank. They're just not going to. Like, well, we lost. Let's just give it to the stock mafia kids. Yeah, they're not gonna let, like, oh, Darrin has his own bank now. Shoot, we'll get him next time. Yeah, they're not gonna just do that. So Mr. Simon said the same thing, and I know AJ was talking about the same thing. We're all talking about, like, what they could run it to. So they run it to 200. And see who sells. Nobody sells. It goes up and cause more people to buy. And they're like, boss, that was a bad idea. Yes. So I have played that scenario out. So you are totally correct. They're like, yeah, but that's when this whole halt crap pops in, right? So so that's the scenario of, okay, we're going to run it to $200. Let's see who sells. They run it to $200, and then FOMO is just fierce. And that's the scary thing, is FOMO is fierce, and FOMO's funny. When stuff happens, I mean, look at all of us. Let's be honest, most of us are probably in AMC because we didn't want to buy GME. But we heard about it. literally, I mean, my sons, I think we were still on Christmas break. I think they were still home from COVID. My son comes up from the basement and he goes, "Yo, Dad, you see what happened with GameStop?" And I said, "GameStop? What are you talking about?" I said, and I probably said to him, "I'm not getting you a PS5. Get the hell out of my face." But he's like, "No, Dad, did you see what happened with GameStop?" And I was like, "No." And he goes, "The stock is like at like $500." And he goes, "And some dude named like FU is made like $50 million." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then I'm just like, I'm all buried in my phone. And I said to him, I said, "You know what's funny?" Because at the time I was really like I knew everything about Neo, everything. And I said, "It's funny, on my Neo board, somebody was talking about GameStop, and I was like, who the hell's gonna buy some dying video game company?" Man, that was it. I poured in, I started reading about it. That was like, holy crap. I I think I went in the next day or that week I was following it and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get some shares. And the day that I thought that I was gonna buy like 5 shares of GameStop at $250, they turned the buy button off. And I was like, oh no, oh no, this is crazy. And then started reading about it. And then somehow I saw something on Reddit because I had just gotten on Reddit like a couple months before that. I saw something on Reddit where somebody put up like this like cartoon. It was a meme. But and it showed the second most shorted stock in the market after GameStop is AMC. And I was like, damn. And they're like, yeah, and AMC ran to $20 and they turned the buy button off and now it's trading at $13. And didn't know anything about payment for order flow at the time. And always had a Vanguard brokerage account, but I was on Webull because it was easy to do on my phone. Went on Webull, I bought like 25 shares. And that's how it all started. And here I am today. Amy is my girlfriend. You know what I mean? I mean, this stock is like, God, I can't wait till we break up. I'm sure you guys feel the same way. I love when people say, like, when AMC runs, I'm going to buy back in. I'm like, I don't know, man. That's like getting remarried to the wife you divorced. You sure you want to do that again? You sure? But no, piggybacking on Chris and our conversation with Mr. Simon and AJ, they run it to 200. There is a huge possibility that they can't control it anymore. And so that's really the real reason. And I appreciate you guys bringing that up. And that's something that I always forget when I go through that scenario. Yeah, if they do let it, probably when they get into 72, if they get it over 72, because that's such a benchmark for everybody anymore. Yeah, they're probably just afraid they're just going to lose control. Because they lost control of it in March. When it ran up to 34, they didn't want that to happen. You could tell they're losing control when if you read candlesticks, when you see those thin little candles, that's just like quick stuff. You could tell they're losing control when that stuff happens. But to answer your question, Chris, it's just like they're afraid to let it run. They may not be able to stop it. They can always halt. And yes, the law says they can only halt for 10 minutes on this type of stuff, like all this stuff that they have, all these little, and there's always some footnote. And if there isn't a footnote, they just do it anyway and pay the fine later. And that's what's wrong with the market. Fines are not like, it's like you can murder somebody for $100. Like you pay a fine. Be like, oh, I'm sorry, I just murdered that family. I was really upset. I had a bad day. Well, all right. Well, as long as you pay the fine, you don't have to admit to the crime, you'll be all right. But then we'll close the case. And that's exactly what they're doing. Yes, Mr. Simon, I am with you. 100%. And I think a lot of people probably, if they don't feel this way, they should get on board with this and prepare themselves mentally. If Ape goes to zero, so Mr. Simon says this, he goes, I hope that on next earnings call, Adam says something like, he diluted the crap out of Ape. Now AMC is debt free thanks to Ape. And that's what I hope happens too. Yes, we all could have sold at $10. We could have been like Meet Kevin and sold all our Ape at $7 or whatever the hell these guys sold their Ape at. Yeah, we could have made some money, blah, 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 blah. If he diluted Ape so much, and that's the reason why it's down to $2, and maybe there wasn't a lot of illegal activity, maybe those FTDs that from that first week, yeah, they do exist and they never bought them back. But after that, if he's been selling shares to whatever hedge fund wants to buy Ape and he's paying off his debt, and we find that out in the next earnings call, which I'll be honest with you, that's what I'm hoping for. I know the space cadets on Twitter, and let's just call them that because they just make up stuff like these space calls. Like it's like they come up with these crazy ideas, and because they have like 500 people talking about it, it's almost like you tell a lie so much you make it true. Mergers are hard. This isn't this isn't the sandbox. You can't. I just don't think. It makes no sense why Disney would ever get involved in AMC until they clear up their legal matters. And to be perfectly honest with you, if you look back 2 years ago, because personally, I think Jeff Bezos is behind a lot of this stuff too. Look at all the companies that have been shorted. Toys R Us, Sears. This guy has benefited immensely from the toy business. There's no doubt in my mind that this guy has been in on this, orchestrated it, been in cahoots for all this to drive these toy businesses out of business because there are no toy stores anymore. KB Hobby was shorted. E-Toys was shorted heavily. We only talk about Toys R Us because that was the big boy on the block. But I truly believe that if you look at Amazon, they are the biggest benefactor of these toys going out of business. And guess what? I have a little kid, and some of my two are teenagers now, but I bought them toys 4 or 5 years ago. I got to buy them on Amazon now. There is no toy store. You go to Walmart. Do you ever see their toy section? It looks like a bomb went off. But the thing is, my point I'm trying to make is because I get fired up about the Amazon stuff. They were talking about Jeff Bezos now he's not into this, more into his space stuff. But years ago, he wanted to be like this big time Hollywood guy. And there was talks that he wanted to buy the movie theaters. He wanted to buy AMC. Well, how does Bezos get something for cheap? He gets all his hedgy buddies to short the shit out of it, and he gets it for cheap. And I think he was probably going to buy AMC. When it went bankrupt, after COVID, he was probably waiting there to do it. And he couldn't do it. And it didn't happen for him. And then he resigned as CEO about a year ago today. Yeah, it's approximately a year. Around this time last year, he said he wasn't going to be the CEO of Amazon anymore. And I think he finished out the fourth quarter, and he peaced out. Johnny, that's that $1,000 resolve. I'm just saying. I'm not saying what I'm saying, but if you know what I'm saying, put in the comments if you guys feel what I'm putting down. $1,000 a share. It's kind of really juicy. That's juicy. It's gonna get crazy when it gets to 1,000. It's gonna get crazy. So seriously, put in the comments if you know what I'm saying about 1,000. How you guys feel about 1,000 a share? How you guys are gonna feel when it goes to 1,000 a share and then they halt it for 30, 60, 90 days? And you're staring at that in your bank account. Exactly. I'm with you, brother. Just test us. Yeah, I dare you. I triple dog dare you. I'm totally with you, man. Let's put it to 1,000. See who sells. God, I've done that number. Life is good. I think all of us. I'm buying. You know, Lou always says you're going to go to Vegas. Dude, we'll go to Vegas. I want to go to Vegas. I'd meet in some like random like town in Idaho or something. I don't know. No, we can meet. We can meet in. I mean, I live close to a major city. We could meet in Philadelphia. I think that would be fun. I thought it was really cool. I remember when I was subscribed to Trey when he first started, kind of like the way I'm starting now. And he went to like a Buffalo Wild Wings and met up with like 10 or 12 people. But man, his channel blew up so quick. I mean, talk about somebody like right place, right time kind of thing. Kind of way. I mean, I still see this as an opportunity for all of us. I mean, I'm kind of excited because I don't really see a lot of people out there like me. I try to keep it real. If I don't keep it real, guys, it's your job to tell me. And that's the straight up truth. And I will take that. I know a few of you have gotten to know me on some level. But yeah, you guys set me straight. If I become a dick or if I have a big black dick behind me, you got to tell me to take it down. When I get down that road, you got to shape me up. I would hope at my age that I'm not influenced by that, but that'd be funny, right? So let's just say a year from now, I'm on Charles Payne at some forum talking about the stock market and the finances and how everybody is not as smart as me. Yeah, it's your job to keep me real. Because that's the coolest thing about YouTube is I think there's an opportunity for real people to get on here. Because I tell you what, guys, I don't watch the news because I think the news is bullshit. I just feel like I'm being lied to all the time. I just feel like I'm being lied to. And I know what I'm going to say might sound controversial. And this is just an opinion. It's like, I look at the news and you think about this. You're like, you're lied to about like how big a disease is, or, you're like, I don't know what that is. Like, oh, there's a new flu going around. Okay. Are you trying to scare me or are you telling me the truth? You know, you don't care about me. It's the same way. It's like, you look at like this, I'm baffled by this Ukraine Russia war thing. That baffles me. I make the assumption that Vladimir Putin is a bad guy, but the only reason I know that he's bad is because the news told me it was. It's just wild, man. But war, there's no good thing. War is just stupid. War is for rich people. And I just can't stand it. I will tell you this, though. When I do make my money, and we all are going to make our money, because it is coming. I don't know when. It might. I mean, I've never felt more. I've never seen more catalysts or indicators, and maybe you guys can disagree with me, than November. I mean, put in the chat if you disagree with me. I mean, we got earnings coming up with a thought that maybe Adam Aaron has paid down some of his debt with Ape. We have the midterm elections, which we've all been talking about probably for the past 6 months. We've been saying they're not going to let this thing go till midterms. They're not going to let this thing go till midterms. And the whole time I'm hearing and going, Jesus, midterms are so far away. Well, guess what? It's like 2 weeks away now. So we're showing up on that doorstep. Then we got the November 23rd, the T90 stuff with Ape, and them having to deliver those shares on November 23rd. Then we have Thanksgiving. And most financial things happen after a holiday. Most drops, they happen. I don't know why. Maybe they have more time to plan for whatever. And then in that whole circle, our Fed has given $9 to $11 billion to Credit Suisse as like a Band-Aid to keep things. They try to help them. That is not enough money to solve their problem. So the only thought is, why is our Fed, the United States Federal Reserve, giving money to them? So Bankroll, you kind of believe it? You kind of with me on it? I mean, like I said, you guys can agree with me, disagree. I always, listen to what you have to say because I am no smarter than you. I just have a bigger mouth, and maybe I'm a little bit more fearless. So you guys think? I mean, I'm curious. I mean, I sometimes think I'm like, I can't believe I put my face and my name and all that stuff out there. When all this stuff, because we're messing with some bad people. We really are. Yeah, Alan just said we got more time than they got tricks, and we got our hands on that bag. We do, man. We do. I mean, I day trade for a living, and I actually was talking to yeah, you guys better hurry up and get me like a bunch of subscribers because if we get into the new year and things are the same, old Darrin is gonna have to go out and he's gonna go back to hitting the streets and start get himself a sales job. Because I'm not selling my shares. I'm not selling one freaking share. I am not until I get what we deserve. So I mean I'm good. I'm good for the next like couple months because of my planning, but I did not foresee this, and this was not in my plans to just sit like this. I mean, we've been trading sideways, let's be honest. Trading sideways and trading down. This whole green bull that we're seeing right here. Woo, AMC 701. It'd be nice if we closed over 7. I don't know what that means. People are always like, oh, the options chain. Yeah, if the options chain was that heavy on if there was that much action on it, and I'm not even checking because I've just gotten to the point where I don't care on that stuff anymore. That if that option chain was that killer at $7, they bring it down. It would close at $6.99, which it's now sitting at right now. So Chris is saying they put resources into something that can go to a few hundred, thousands of articles, thousands of bots, thousands of shills, going on 2 years now. Yeah, I do realistically. So some people will say like, "What's your price target?" And I'll be honest with you guys, like I don't really have one, and I know that sounds like that's like a political answer. But I will tell you, what my price target is? I'm selling small. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say this thing runs, and let's say it halts at $700 for 30 days. I'm sorry, I'm selling some shares. I'm not selling everything. We're selling some shares, and then they let it go. And you can yell at me. Price target up. Like man up, price target up, man up, cowboy up. I love cowboy up. I love cowboy up. I do need to man up. I'll say my goddamn price target when I want, and I'm not doing it. No, but it's all based on certain factors. But if you're sitting there, if you're watching your screen, and I know you obviously like the GME guys have that simulation where they're like, you just look at the screen and the thing is just rolling. Like it's just the number just keeps going. It goes 100, 200, 200, 300, 400, 400, 450, 420. Then it goes down to 380. Oh, that type of day? Oh no, I won't. Yeah. Oh, I got you, bankroll. I got you. Yeah. So it's for me, like I said, like I'm just selling small when it runs, but I'm not even thinking about something until I see like $500, $600, $700. No way. No way. And the longer this goes on, and I think it's gone on long enough. And that's the good news. That's why I love midterms, because they want to blame somebody. And either way, so think about this. This is where it gets fun. And like I said, it's not political. Don't start this Democrat Republican shit, because I don't care about it. I do not. I don't care about these guys. I think they're all a bunch of crooks. But they love to blame each other. So let's do two scenarios. Let's say the Democrats keep the House, the Senate, whatever. Well, they're going to let the market crash because they can't just keep throwing money at like a trying to revive a dead horse here. They're going to let it crash. They're going to blame COVID. They're going to blame the pandemic. They're going to blame that we had to do this and we gave every citizen $2,000 and the PPP loans. They're going to do all that stuff. So that's their angle. So they're going to let it crash. Let's say the Republicans win the House. Well, now you have a Democrat president with a Republican House. Well, they'll wait a couple weeks and they'll slam that too. Because what they want to do then is they want to drop the economy, and the president then turns around and says, I have no control. I've been wanting to pass all these bills and all these amendments, and I've been wanting to do all this stuff to save our economy. I told you, and he's been running around the country telling everybody, I told you if those Republicans get the House, they're going to ruin the economy and cause inflation to go even higher. I told you, because they're going to be posturing for him to get reelected. And when he gets reelected, they're posturing to get the Senate and the House to flip back to being Democrat. I mean, the old man playbook is really easy to understand. But the good news is this is a big move for us because banks are dying. Liquidity all across the world is a problem. They have nowhere to hide their bad bets. If you watch one of my videos, I was talking about how I was going to educate you guys on 401ks and pension funds. And even if you know about this, it's always a great discussion to have, is that's where they hide everything. If you've ever had a financial advisor come to your house and sit you down and you say, oh man, I really would love to make 8% in the market. 8%. That's not a lot. If you think 8% is a lot, then you need to really subscribe to my channel and stick with me for the next 2 years. I'm going to make you 8% in the next couple of years just by winking at you. 8% is not a lot of money. But I didn't know that. A lot of us didn't know that. We thought that's what we get in the market at the high. Because financial advisors will sit there and tell you, I can't get you 8%. I might be able to get you 5. I might be able to get you 4. 5, 4? Guys, I made 5-4% on my money in a week. And people said let that stuff sit there for a year. Alan, I'm with you. You just got to stay positive. It is sad. So what can we do about it? Let's just view ourselves as soldiers in this world. And if we do get our money, we do good. Like I have said to you guys before, like, I want to build my business to a certain point that I can hire people at a good wage and come in. Yeah, do I want to be boss? Sure I do. I like being boss because I think I'm a good person. I think I'd be a good boss. And think of how good it would feel to pay people a good wage and have them happy to be at work. Like what an anomaly that is. Pay a good wage. How much money do people need? How much money do you really need? I mean, let's just say, like, if I want to have the greatest life in the world, for me, like the greatest life in the world, and I'm gonna exceed any number that maybe you guys, because I'll say a number and you'd be like, dude, you could live just as well on 500,000. You're right. But let's just say, I don't know, the greatest life in the world. Do I need more than like $3 million a year to do any of that stuff? I don't think I do. I could still have a yacht and all sorts of funny business stuff. But my point is you build a business, you take a good wage, you reinvest into it, and you pay your people well. And if you pay your people well and you motivate them to say like, hey, if we're gonna sell so much product, I'm gonna give everybody a percentage of that sale, or we hit this certain mark, everybody gets a percentage of the profits after this mark. I think that would be a great thing. That's how businesses used to be built, and they're not built like that anymore. Nice, AJ. AJ's moving to the Philippines. AJ, there's like what do I know about the Philippines? There's like no jobs there. Am I correct? Probably why it's so cheap. Don't a lot of Filipinos leave the Philippines and probably come to the United States or go somewhere in Europe and then come back? There's like no jobs there. It's probably why your money goes. When you say no jobs, you mean nothing? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, fuck it. Like, so Mr. Simon, like we watched Lou, and I know he's and I that's why if you click on him now and watch his GTI stuff, which you don't really have to watch like all his videos, but you know, you can give the guy a click. You know, don't subscribe to him, but you can give him a click. He talks about GTI. It's like he's talking about AMC. It's the same crap. It's the same crap. We're gonna have our run. We're gonna have our run. No. We're gonna run, and if I see you on the street, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. Gonna have our run. All right, he ain't slapping nobody. What I say, Mr. Simon? I said he's 2 donuts from a heart attack. He ain't slapping nobody. Oh, there's no jobs for foreigners. I got you. Well, yeah. So there is no jobs because even a foreigner can't even go there and get a job at like a snack stand. We're talking about getting jobs in the Philippines, everybody. So because AJ, that's what he's taking his money. He's gonna run the show. He's getting 40 times his dollar. $1 is $40 in the Philippines. You're doing this, AJ. You doing this currently? That's pretty cool. That's awesome, AJ. That's so fun. I love I love business. So if one thing you guys will know about me is like, why did I get into the stock market? Because I love business. I love like side hustles. I mean, the stuff that I've done. So I'll tell you a story about me is and I can because it's my channel. I can do what I want. Is I when eBay was like going around, I used to sell fatheads. If you guys know what fatheads are, they're like these big vinyl stickers that have very sports guys. And strangely enough, Fathead, and they don't do this anymore, so I'm not living out any type of secrets or shooting myself in the foot because I don't do this anymore. Fathead, for whatever reason, would sell these big vinyl stickers for like $100. And then when they would trade a guy, say like Shaquille O'Neal would get traded from the Lakers to the Heat, they would put like that $100 Shaquille O'Neal, which is like 7 foot on your ceiling, on your wall, which they're so cool. If you've ever had one, they're like wallpaper. So they would put them on sale for $10. I was like, what? So what I would do is I would buy their inventory through their website and hold on to Shaquille O'Neal for $10 in like a Lakers uniform because he was playing for the Heat now. And I would put them on eBay for like 40 or $50 because I had every one of their old style fatheads, and I would make a little a small killing on that kind of stuff. So and then I just got into the eBay stuff and was flipping stuff on eBay. And then 2008 rolled around and that dried up because people started realizing what they happened. And then Fathead, I guess, probably caught on to what I was doing because I was like buying their inventory for like 4 straight years. You would have thought that would have been a red flag that all their old inventory was coming to my house. But they didn't until they sold the company. And then they started selling all their clearance items for the exact same price that I sold their clearance items for on eBay. So pretty interesting, pretty funny story. So I got into the eBay stuff and then that dried up and always wanted to, have my own products. So I'm a big baseball guy. I invented a hip trainer to hit with the baseball. So you can use it for golf and baseball. It's called the Hip Striker. and do that currently, and I sell it on Amazon. It doesn't pay the mortgage, but it pays a few bills, especially when it's baseball season. I'm surprised more golfers don't buy it, but it does really mimic more of hitting a baseball than it does hitting a golf ball. So, AJ, you got the insider. That's what you do. That's how you do business in foreign countries, guys. You got to follow AJ. You got to marry somebody in the country you want to do business. She'll let you in. She'll get you that pass, get you that card. That's how it's done. That's how it's done. You want to do business in Poland? You got to marry a Polish girl. Oh man, AJ, that's some cool stuff, man. Like I said, you want to hit me up on Twitter, man? DM me. I'll talk business with you all day long. But it's funny because I have heard about like the Philippines, how it's like tough to get a job, or their economy. We take for granted how good our economy is. But it is, and the availability of jobs. And I don't buy into this whole like we don't have enough people for our jobs kind of nonsense. Pay people more money. Seriously. I don't know how Starbucks is around you, but the Starbucks, and I don't buy Starbucks. I don't waste my money. I don't buy $9 coffee. But there are people in my family that waste their money on coffee. I make my own coffee. Can't control what other people do. Learned that the hard way. But going to all these Starbucks, they a lot of times they're like closed or have limited hours because they don't have staff. It's like, what do you mean you don't have staff? We don't have staff. So you're telling me the Starbucks can't afford staff, but they still can charge you $10.50 for a frozen coffee drink. Nah, something's wrong there. Something's wrong. Something's got to change. That's one of the problems with our United States economy is like we don't want to pay business owners. Every business owner wants to make $250K a year, and they want to pay their people $4 an hour. And that's probably why we're in this mess that we are right now because of that mindset. Oh, yeah, I'll put it in the chat. I thought it was up there. Shit. Stock. Oops. I'm gonna put my my Twitter handle. I couldn't get Stock Mafia, so I had to put 2022, like the established date. Yes, and Childs, you are exactly right. The world is unequal and it is effed up. This whole thing, the United States is like the cream of the crop. Look at what's going on here. We're the only country that allows shorting. Now, look what's going on in Europe. I mean, that depresses me a lot. Is their new prime minister? Anybody in here from Great Britain? I know there's a gentleman, Anthony. I don't know if he's listening. He's chimed in a few times. He was my European correspondent, but I think he's fired because I haven't seen him for a couple of weeks. But their prime minister is a hedge fund manager or former. And then he also believes in this United States the digital currency. You guys hearing about this shit? Like, that's some stuff that I'm like, nah, that ain't going to fly in the United States. I'm not even scared about that. That digital currency where they're going to give you, say, $1,000 and you have to spend it within 30 days. Nah. I tell you what, if they do that, just pay down debt. So if they give you digital coins, just pay down debt. I mean, just pay it down. Just if you have any type of debt, just pay it down. That'll screw up that whole system. It's stupid. It's so funny how people just want to control other people. Like power hungry people are some sick people. It's kind of like trying to understand like a serial killer. It's like, why do you try to like, I have friends and people I'm close to that watch all these like murder shows and these serial killer shows. You guys, I'm sure you guys watch them because Netflix makes a gazillion of them. But it's like we're always trying to understand why they did that, because they're nuts. Can't figure out somebody who's nuts, and that's why these mafiosos that are shorting our stocks and running Wall Street, they're nuts. They're all crazy. So it's like trying to understand their psyche is special. And the problem is that most of us are all good people and we got stuff going on. And to deal with like a crazy person, just like in your world, like let's just say if you're a crazy uncle or your crazy mom or something, you just like get them out of your life. But then they still run amok. And that's what's going on now. Is like these politicians. That's why most people are like, "Oh, politics. I don't want to talk about it." Well, unfortunately, it has to become part of our lives, because what they do is they take advantage of the fact that you don't want to talk about it and pay attention to them, and they steal money out of your pension funds and 401ks, which I never really still didn't clarify that whole thing. I got to make a video on that. That'll be an interesting one. And I'm sure people will come back at me and say, you don't understand this and that. And maybe I don't, but I do know what they do with those 401ks and those pension funds. They put bad bets in them. They hide them. And if they need money and need to borrow money for some more crazy crap, they steal from those 401ks and pension funds. Those pension funds make way more money than the 4 or 5% that they show on the books. They just take it. They just take that money. All right, AJ, I'm going to do that now. So just give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm kind of running on, we're getting close, 11:56. So I'm just following somebody real quick. But like I said to you guys before, like I just I get fed up. And like most people, even my good buddy, he's like, you know me, I don't want to pay attention to that stuff. And I said, dude, you want to trade? You want to trade for a living? You got to pay attention to this stuff. I was the same way. All right. All right, AJ, I just did like a follow back. It said pending. Are you in Canada, AJ? I think you said you were. Whew. It's hard talking for 2 hours. It ain't easy what I do. All right, here we go. Yes. All right, cool. All right, so we're good on that. Yeah, do you guys have anything else to talk about? I mean, it's been real. Please, I say this all the time, and you guys are like my foundation. Please please subscribe, please share. Like if you could, like if my information is going out to the right people, it protects our stock. Even to the point of, I just think this month is really big for us. I just do. And listen, and I don't even want to say catalyst. It's an indicator. I mean, geez, I mean, I don't know. They could hide all our buy orders in the dark. We could have a merger with Disney, which would be the craziest thing ever. That's why I don't think it's going to happen, because I think it's just too unbelievable for that to happen. That Disney's like, yeah, we're going to buy AMC movie theaters. Street Cred, appreciate it. Thank you. Always good talking. Mr. Simon, I appreciate it. You're a good dude too. Thank you. Yeah, you know, like I said before, a lot of people will say to me, "You're like, it's funny, man, but if you ever read some of my comments, you're like, you're new, you suck." Like, like, and I think it's funny because that's the kind of shit I would say to somebody. I'm like, get out of here. You're too late to the party. But I'm too late to the party. Well, guess what? A lot of people are falling off. It's funny. I used to sit down. I think I told you guys I watched my YouTube stuff off of my Fire Stick on my TV. I used to sit down, man. I had at least every night 40 minutes of videos to go through. Now it's like 5-10 minutes. I end up watching myself. That's sad. When you start turning on yourself on the TV and laughing at your own jokes, there's something wrong with you. You're like, oh, that's a good one, Darrin. I mean, it's but no, there's a lot of guys have fallen off. So I used to watch Trey, and I don't watch Lou anymore. Obviously, I don't watch Trey because he's just pieced out. There's a lot of guys. I used to watch Al, the first run of Al from Boston, but the second run, I don't like second Al. I like the first Al. Hodl, baby, hodl. Hold for gold. But yeah, it's 12 o'clock. It's cool hanging with you guys. I'm gonna put a poll out, and maybe you guys can answer it. There are times that I think, like, I know that like this time works for us, but it might not work for a lot more people. And just to get the word out for the channel and stuff, I might try to stream for like an hour on like at a night time. It might actually be Wednesday night. But it's hard because sometimes you have stuff to talk about. But I always want to have stuff to talk about. So that's why I stopped doing the 3 days a week. That was tough. All right. So, guys, peace out. Stay strong. Stay positive. I will see you on the next one. Please share my vids and all that fun stuff. And hit me up on the comments. Hit me up on Twitter for right now until I become world famous and have my own show and get to say booyah and tell you guys to buy stocks. I will answer all your DMs. All right. Peace. I'll see you later.